Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Charting from Blank episode 49. Taking a look at SEI this week, a coin that at first glance actually looks not too bad, to be fair. I mean, despite the market right now, the way altcoins are trading, pretty weak, full retracing a lot of their moves from back in July. Not all of them, but a lot of them. We can find ourselves forcing our hand a lot in these conditions, but either way, still worth charting some things, taking a look at coins and sort of setting out an outlook and potentially a couple of scenarios that you could take, especially if we chop through August. It's worth, having a couple of scenarios laid out ahead, that if one scenario lower doesn't play out, then at least you have a potential idea. Either way, still worth charting some things, taking a look at coins and sort of setting out an outlook and potentially a couple of scenarios that you could take, especially if we chop through August. It's worth, having a couple of scenarios laid out ahead, that if one scenario lower doesn't play out, then at least you have a potential idea to chase that back higher. So we're going to start off on the weekly. Now I finished rambling. Nice weekly level here. Even on the monthly, we can see a pretty nice monthly level back towards this region, potentially now reclaiming it after forming a couple months consolidation under there. During Q1 and Q2, we got that rally up from SEI. But yeah, consolidation down here towards this monthly level. And then on the weekly as well, quite a nice sort of reclaim on this whole region. This 0.285 to 0.26 area looks like good support. We look at the volume profile, we can also see very, very high volume being done towards this support area. That would be mainly probably from back in that 2024 summer range, where we had like a consolidation. We can see there's a lot of volume built up here, but this is something to consider here, given a lot of the time when we break through a high volume node point of control, such as this one, right? We can see rejected from back here in February. And then we eventually broke through it in June and July, and now we're retesting back towards that area. So that point of controls are pretty good, because if you have, like, let's say this is a point of control, right? This is a POC. And then you get rejection, then you get that break back up through, and the POC remains in this area here. When you retest back towards this POC, it can be a really good opportunity to take along, because we know that there's a lot of volume being traded done here in this area prior to this. So we could assume that maybe there are fresh buyers interested in long here. So let's keep that in mind as we look into the lower time frames. This weekly has a very nice volume node area here, high volume node point of control. Also a weekly order block, weekly demand, whatever you'd like to call it. Nice consolidation area here. So overall, on first glance at the weekly, we have quite a nice setup here. I think we have a good deviation sort of under this prior range low area, a reclaim followed by a flip of the high volume node POC, and also a weekly demand. So yeah, an interesting place for us to keep an eye on for SEI right now. Looking higher, definitely got some resistance up towards this 0.6 region. 0.6, some resistance, and then also looking at some resistance here at 0.38. I'm pretty sure that if SEI got a flip above 0.37, 0.38, it would take a move towards 0.6 eventually. Kind of like a big range here, if you want to view it like that. This is our range high, right? Range high, range low, deviation under range low, reclaim, and looking at trading up towards that. This is actually a potential power of 3 as well, which I will whip up shortly now, and I'll cut to. But these power 3s also have a really nice hit rate of doing a deviation, reclaim, and leg up. Let me quickly mark that up now. So here is what I was pretty much just discussing, right? We have that range low area, we have that big higher time frame consolidation, we get the breakdown, the deviation, the reclaim, and then a potential expansion into this region, right? So we have like consolidation, deviation or manipulation, and then expansion. So yeah, let's keep an eye on SEI. Definitely into this region, we want to consider potentially looking for a reversal very soon. So let's get into the lower time frame and figure out if we can find a potential setup for it. So now we got a higher time frame levels marked out. Let's go onto the daily, figure out if there's a potential trade for us to take towards this high volume node POC is reacting quite nicely for now, and also back towards this range low area. Now, realistically, it would be as easy as buying towards range lows, but given the situation of altcoins right now, structure, I would kind of want to see a good flip in the structure. Right? I talk about this structure a lot, but what you have is like a support, price breaks down, rejects or forms a support, rejects, roll over, right? And then what we can see here is just constant support areas that continue to sort of reject. And right now we're fighting with this prior support area. And I think for SEI to interest me in an entry right now, I would like to see some more consolidation around this support, maybe a better like structure setup. So maybe we form like a support here, we sweep, reclaim that support. That could be a nice trigger to take along, right? I think with these Charting from Blank episodes, I'm always quite forced to give a exact setup, because you know, at the end of the day, we're looking for some potential trade ideas, but there's not necessarily always something there. And I feel like if I'm trying to force something too much, then it probably isn't the best trade to take, right? You'll find that a lot of the best trades you take tend to fall into your lap quite easily. You'll notice them quite fast, and as you take the trade, they tend to react quite well as well, obviously subject to the time frame. You know, the higher time frame does look good for SEI, I have to admit. I do think this sort of retest towards this weekly area looks very positive for it, but the daily and the lower time frame right now isn't that convincing for me. I think I would be far more comfortable with SEI right now in waiting for some sort of higher time frame flip back above like 0.3 and even 0.31. You know, if we can see a good recovery from this bounce and a reclaim back above 0.3, 0.31, I'm pretty sure then we can look at legging up to new highs above the July high, to new summer highs. And I think that's sort of the play right now. I think it's definitely worth keeping an eye on, say, into this region. You know, given this point power of 3, there's a chance for this to make a run in Q4, but I think I need to see some more development on the lower time frame before I consider an entry. Even something like this, right? Little support formed, deviation, reclaim, and then leg up. That's kind of what I want to see here. We kind of have a small one here, but it's not convincing enough for me just yet. I'd like to see some sort of more consolidation, maybe sweep, reclaim, and then leg up. We are trading around this high volume node POC, which you'll find high volume node POCs can act as quite a choppy region for price. You know, you want to try and take a trade away from it when price retests that region for the first time. So ideally that should have been the bounce, but instead it's just sort of fizzled. And now what you'll probably find is that it'll be quite choppy around this region. You can see here, right, exact same thing around this area. It was quite choppy, and then eventually we got that move away. So yeah, in terms of a trade right now, I think SEI is on very good support into this 0.28 region. I think it's worth keeping a very close eye on it for a move towards 0.38 and 0.6 over the next couple months, but need some more development on the lower time frame. I'm not going to force a trade right now, personally. That'll pretty much do it for this week's Charting from Blank episode. Bit of an underwhelming one, but that's how it goes some weeks. Look for taking a trade above 0.31. If you can get a flip above there, I'm pretty sure that's a good trade to take. Otherwise, look for some more development on the lower time frame. That's probably my only plan right now. But overall, yeah, power 3 looks good. Check out the socials in the link below, and I will see you guys next week on Tuesday for my Tuesday market review. Have a good one. Bye bye.